All right, go ahead, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Pardon the interruption.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bianca. Thanks for remembering to do that. A lot of times we forget to record, right? And we get through amazing content and we lose it. But anyway, guys, I'm super excited to be here and I want this to be interactive. I only have an hour and this is like 40 hours of teaching. So the degree to which it's interactive is meant to help you. I may have to move some people on because I do have a time limit and we all need to get back to making money and living our lives. But I do want you to ask questions when you can. I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to walk out of this today a different person. If you are a little uncomfortable with anything I have to say, I did my job. All right. So I want you to understand something. For whatever reason, the way God made me, I do not have a high need to be liked. I just don't. It's never been in me that I need you to like me. I do, however, have a high need to be understood. Meaning I want you to understand what I'm saying. I want you to walk away with the correct view of the words that I'm going to use. I don't want you to misunderstand the challenges that I'm giving you. I don't care if you don't like it. If you don't like it, I'm actually happy because when you're uncomfortable, that points to something. So if you feel strange, that points to something. Here's the other thing I want to caution you about. When I go through some of the teachings, sometimes people will say, or I know they sort of have this attitude, like, I've heard this before, right? I'm not coming to you as like the only person on the planet who's ever figured out mindset. I mean, how many of you guys have sat in mindset teachings or read a book on mindset? I mean, raise your hand, right? I mean, I can't imagine any of you haven't. It's not like this is new content. My take on it, my approach is me. That makes each of us unique. But here's the trap when you say, I've heard this before. And then I would say to you, great, that's great. So show me how it's working in your life. Show me your breakthroughs. Show me your successes. Well, okay. All right, here's the deal, guys. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Please use this hour, take something from it, even if it's something small, and apply it. Because it doesn't matter how much you learn. We're information junkies, aren't we? We're scrolling past every sort of motivational meme on Instagram. We read this, we sign up for that email list. We do all of this. We're informational junkies. How often do we put it to use in our life? I mean, Bianca, how many times do people say, I'm going to do that new workout? I'm going to commit to this new diet. How many times do we say that? And how often do we actually follow through with it? And this is a difference between succeeding and failing when it comes to mindset. So those are some of my encouragements for you. Now I want to know from you guys, who has set goals for themselves this year? Who is in the process of doing it, has done it? Everybody just can some of you share some of those goals with me real quick? You guys don't have to unmute yourself. So just go ahead and unmute yourself whenever you need to. All right. Jessica, you want to share a goal? Trying to find the unmute. I mean, Bianca, you want to unmute people? Okay.
I was thinking about it. Geez. I mean, right now I'm very, very focused on building out my brokerage. So
building out your business. All right. Yeah. So you've got some number goals in there probably, right? Anyone else want to share specifically?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I had the goal at the school, Brisbane school, to double my revenue. That's gone out the window with the pandemic, but at this stage, it's just basically getting back to the normal revenue level that we had before.
Right. That's absolutely an acceptable goal considering what we've been through. Anyone else have personal goals? Anything personal they want to share? Anything, physical, relationships, personal goals? Buying a new house, moving.
Our goal for 2020 was to be debt-free, and we've achieved that this year.
Great. That's awesome. Okay. So those of you that are setting goals, have set goals, you do that, right? Hopefully you do that as a practice. I just want to say to you that your new goals are going to cost you your old mindset. Just keep that in mind. You cannot reach your new goals with your old mindset. It doesn't work that way. If you could, you would have done it already. So every time we want to reach a new level in our personal life, in our business life, and it's all intermingled, by the way, guys, as entrepreneurs, or with anyone who wants to live the entrepreneurial mindset, and we'll talk about what that is, there is no division between personal and business. Does anyone want to argue that with me? Where is the line? It all bleeds together, doesn't it? Any issue you have that's personal, right? It's on the table when you're an entrepreneur. You can't avoid it. I have been an entrepreneur for 20 years. And I've done it with my husband for 20 years. So I know all about every personal issue being on the table. You can't avoid it. The great thing about being an entrepreneur is that every issue is on the table, because we get to deal with our limiting beliefs. We get to overcome toxic mindsets. And that breakthrough that comes from doing that isn't only in our business, but it's in our personal life as well, because they merge together. So I want you to know that this is about, what I do is about uncovering limiting beliefs, helping you change your mindset, upgrade your mindset, get to that next level in your life, personally, professionally. Deal with that next emotional trigger. Find that limiting belief that's holding you back so that you can get to the goal that you want to achieve. That's what I do. And a lot of times in doing that work, we not only reach our goals, but we reframe our purpose. Often we reframe our business ideas. Often we find new opportunity to create revenue. We start to understand our gifts and talents differently because we're not seeing this all through the veil of limiting beliefs and toxic thoughts. And we all have them. Anyone who doesn't have toxic thoughts, please speak up right now. Please let me know who you are. I'll buy you lunch. No, right? We all do. Listen, I just got done interviewing 22 high performers, entertainment world, sports world, medicine, coaches, and every one of them shared with me the fears they deal with on a daily basis, the negative thoughts that they have. It doesn't mean that, they're taking them down, but they share with me, these are the things that I struggle with. One of them is the world's foremost expert on mindset. That's what he's called by his peers. He's from the UK. And he told me in our interview, I'm really worried that right now you think that I'm doing a good job. And he's very transparent. So you're not alone. This is what we deal with the rest of our lives, but it gets better. Trust me, right? You can overcome a limiting belief. A new one will come in, but when I give you some tools, and that's what I'm about, giving you truth and tools. I want you to speak truth to yourself. I want you to find truth in yourself. And I want you to have tools to overcome limiting beliefs and tools that will help you live the life, experience the life that you were designed to experience. So let's get into it. What is mastering your mindset? And this is going to be my definition. I need you to listen to this definition because it sounds goofy, but it makes sense. What is mastering your mindset? It's all about getting past the things, right, from your past to deal with them correctly. Dealing correctly with the things from your past. Dealing correctly with the things that are going to happen to you in your future, so that what's supposed to happen to you happens to you. I'm going to say that a little bit better. Let me say that a little bit better, okay? Mastering your mindset is about dealing correctly with what has happened to you in your past, which we all drag with us, right? And what is going to happen to you in your future. So what's supposed to happen to you happens. It's about experiencing the fullness of why you were created and what you're meant to do. And FYI, full disclosure, I am a doctorate student in theology. I'm not going to go there today, but I want us all to recognize there is a spirit element to this, how whatever that means to you, it means to you, and I respect that. But I will let you know that is an aspect of mindset, and I can't avoid talking about that, right? We want to know why we are here, don't we? We want to know that. Who here feels like, anyone want to share that they feel like they found their purpose? Like they absolutely know what they were created to do, why? And does anyone want to share that?
Yeah, me. I would like to.
Great.
I have a passion to really change communities, like physically, the infrastructure. Like I live in Paterson, New Jersey, and I think it's really dirty and it's just really different from where I grew up in Parsippany. It's just very different. Even though it's a city, it's just not properly funded and things like that. And so I really want to not only here locally, but abroad and things like that.
So you have a passion, Tatiana. There's a reason why you have that passion. You don't know yet how that's going to play out, right? But you know that it's there and it drives you and you feel a purpose about it. So yeah. And that's awesome. And some people get that at a young age. Some people don't. I mean, I can share with you, I won't get into all the details of it, but I didn't really know and understand why I had all these experiences, successes and failures and why I had the skill set I have until I was 40. I mean, I'll admit my age. I'm way past 40.
Oh
But but that's all right. But you know what? I tell my kids all the time, I have 4 teenagers. I said, please don't wait till you're 40. Figure it out. But unfortunately, I do want to tell you this, that we spend kind of, as kids, we sort of absorb everything around us. And then we spend the rest of our life trying to get back to who we were before the world told us otherwise.
Yeah.
That is the journey we are on. Yeah. All right. So what is the entrepreneurial mindset then? It's a way of thinking. It's a way of living. It's a different way of looking at the world. Do you have to be an entrepreneur to embrace and live the entrepreneurial mindset? No. It is a successful way to do life. And if you have a corporate career and you embrace the entrepreneurial mindset, you will go to the top. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. It's just not for everyone. But the entrepreneurial mindset, for everyone. Does it work? 100%. Is it the best way to live? Without a doubt, I wouldn't trade it for anything. So most of you are entrepreneurs. I don't know, Danielle just joined. Welcome. I'm not sure if you are, but you want to chime in, Danielle? Tell us who you are. When you unmute, let us know.
Sorry.
There you go. Okay.
So I'm a realtor and a fitness coach. So
right. Okay. So most of us here are entrepreneurs, but not all of us have been all the time, right? A lot of us had corporate jobs. And think back to that. And if you had lived life with an entrepreneurial mindset, if you had dealt with success and failure through that filter, your experience would have been different. So it's definitely a way to live. Your business is going to mirror what's going on inside of you. So I want to deal with what's going on inside of you. All right. So let's go to the slide, Bianca. Let's go to the definition of mindset. All right. So we're going to dig into the definition of mindset. And as she pulls that up, I want to just have us agree to one thing here. I want us to agree to what we have control over in this world. What do we have control over? And Bianca, hold on one second. What do we have control over?
Our finances.
Do you? Okay.
Well, I would assume you can in some way.
And where does that control flow from?
Your hardworking, like the effort you put into working, I guess.
Anything
or your
else?
goals,
anything else?
Taking responsibility for your decisions.
Okay. All right.
Financially. That's what you're trying to say right now.
So rather than try to trick you into an answer, here's the bottom line. Bottom line. You only have control over one thing in this world. So let me ask you it that way. What is the one thing? One thing. You have control over one thing. Yes, thank you. Everything flows from that, Tatiana. That's right, Jess. Everything flows from your mind. We have to agree to that before we can move forward and fix the mindset. You don't have control over what your spouse does. You don't have control over politics. You don't have control over government decisions. You don't have control over aspects of your career. You don't have control over your customers. If there were a better time to learn that lesson, it would be now. How many of you are in control of what's happening to us out there? You're literally told where you can go and where you cannot go. Whatever that means to you, you don't have control. What do you have control over? Your mind. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you choose to react to it. This is your choice. So Tatiana, when you say money, it's really, you don't really have control over your finances. You have control over the choices you make, which flows to the results. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Okay. So we agree. We agree. Whether you do or not, if you don't agree with me, email me later and I'll prove to you. I will fall on that sword. One thing, our mind, one thing. Okay, so let's get into the definition of mindset. I need to dig into this because if you understand the definition of mindset and walk away today understanding that differently, it will help you control some of your limiting beliefs. So you have that slide, Bianca?
I do. Ready?
Okay, ready. Go ahead. So the definition of mindset, and by the way, can we make it smaller so the whole page gets on there? Or maybe that just looks that way for me. Okay, so you guys, will send you some worksheets afterwards. I don't want to distract you with them, but we'll send you some stuff afterwards via email. But mindset is 3 things. It's a set of beliefs and a way of thinking that determines one's actions. All right, a set of beliefs that is a way of thinking that determines one's actions. So what is, the reason I wrote spirit, soul, and body here is, again, we cannot get away from the fact that we are spirit, soul, and body. I don't care what your theology basis is or is not. There is scientific, support of all of this. So we know that a set of beliefs is deeply held. That's in our subconscious, deeply held, a set of beliefs. All right. So I would write spirit there. Deeply held, subconscious, a way of thinking. This is our conscious realm. This is what we're doing right now, right? We're in our conscious realm, right? That determines one's actions. And I put body there because this is what I can see. I can see the decisions, the results in Bianca's life from the decisions she's made. I hear her words. I see the things that she does and doesn't do. So this is why I see the result, right? So mindset definition flows. Set of beliefs that are deeply held, a way of thinking, it's in your conscious realm, and then that determines one's actions, one's words, one's choices, one's behavior, what you can control, right? That starts with your thinking. So what's interesting about this is the set of beliefs that's in your subconscious. The experts say, and how they do this, I don't know, but I've researched it heavily, that 95% of our thoughts come from our subconscious. 95%. So wouldn't it behoove you to figure out what strongly held beliefs you have in your subconscious? Wouldn't that be a good idea if 95% of what ends up here starts with a deeply held belief? You're not aware of your subconscious, right? When you go to bed at night, you're still breathing, but you don't tell your body to do that. It's our subconscious that does that. Well, we react, act, speak, make choices 95% of the time from deeply held beliefs that we are unaware of. Deeply held beliefs that we have picked up along the way. Where have we gotten them from? First of all, obviously childhood, right? A child is a sponge. A child does not have a guard on its subconscious to say, hey, little Jessica, don't believe that lie that adult just told you, because it's going to hurt you later in life. Hey, Tatiana, I know your best friend in middle school just told you that you're ugly. Don't believe her, because it's going to set up a limiting belief for you later in life that you're not good enough. We don't do that as children. We just take it in. And a lie repeated enough from an authority figure becomes our truth. So we collect those first there. Then as adults, we go through difficult times. We all do. Whatever that looks like. You fail financially, you can get a limiting belief that says you'll never have any money. You have a relationship that fails, you have a limiting belief, if you allow it, that says I'll never be loved. We keep picking up limiting beliefs along the way from difficult life experiences. Now, we have a choice as an adult. If we want to get in touch with our subconscious and we want to know, like, wait a minute, you know what? I did go through this difficult thing, but I'm not going to let it change me. We do have that choice as an adult. As a child, we don't have the capacity. Freud said that as a child, we just keep absorbing all these things, but we don't have the capacity to understand that as an adult, we're going to need different tools to survive. So as an adult, we often act like a child because we're stuck at that age. We're stuck back at that point where that wound happened, where that limiting belief took hold. And you know what? Frankly, it's easier to believe the negative stuff. Isn't that true? It's easier to believe the negative stuff. Because if I want to change a thought and want to believe something positive, what if I'm wrong? What if it doesn't work? Then I've exposed myself a lot more than if I go ahead and I embrace a negative mindset. So what does this have to do with business? Everything. Everything. I'm going to read you some limiting beliefs in a little bit. You're going to see that, again, personal bleeds into business. Our ability to succeed, our ability to reach our goals, all comes from what deeply held beliefs that we have. That deeply held belief, the set of beliefs, that subconscious, this is your power seat. It's in control 95% of the time. This is your power seat. I kind of go down here. I always point like to your heart. Your conscious realm up here, that's your will, right? So when those two are in agreement, I have a positive, deeply held belief. I have a positive thought in my mind. I have willpower. Did you hear that? Power in the subconscious, right? Will in the mind. When those two are in alignment, I have willpower and I can make it happen. That's when you see breakthrough. That's when you meet your goals. That's when you just are amazingly successful. But when I have a deeply held belief that's negative, I'm not even aware it's an operation, but I have a positive mindset, right? Thinking positively. Power trumps will every time. Your subconscious will trump will every time. And let me just pull that up here, you guys, so I can put the chat over here. Yeah. Yeah, it's easier to believe than negative. So I'm going to talk about that actually in a minute, why you can't just bring in a positive thought to overcome a negative thought. It's not that easy. I believe in positive thinking. Believe me, I do. But if it were that easy, we'd all just eliminate them, wouldn't we? You have to do it's the work is harder than that, because you need to think about that deeply held belief like it has roots inside of you. So what did I just say? If we're in alignment, we are not double-minded, we are single-minded. Our mind and our subconscious and our mind and our conscious are in alignment. We have willpower. We have alignment. We now are sending out that positivity. We are attracting what we want in our life. But when we have a deeply held belief that says you will never be successful because your mother told you that again and again and again, and I'm not even in touch with it, but up here, I'm saying, no, I want to be successful. No, I'm going to do well. I'm going to push myself. What's going to win out? The seat of power, which is your subconscious, which is limiting belief, deeply held belief. This is why we have to identify them. This is why we have to do the work. So if something isn't working in your life, find the limiting belief. I'm going to give you the example of diet because it works so easily and it's simple. If I say, okay, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to do that. I'm up here and making these plans, right? Things that we do, set the goals. So I do that, but I have a deeply held belief from childhood. Everyone in my family was overweight. My aunts and uncles always told me, you'll always be overweight, because your mom is overweight. It's just what we are. I heard this. I heard this. I picked up all that, and it became a deeply held belief. Like I honestly believed it, but I forgot about that a long time ago. But I'm gonna get healthy. So I start, and I'm successful to a degree because I have the will, not the willpower yet, but I have the will up here, and we can do a lot as humans. We're gonna will ourselves to do it, right? Only lasts so long though. The second I hit something stressful, the second I hit something that's difficult in my life, what happens? I fail. Yep, I spin out of control, Bianca. You know why? Guess what takes over? That limiting belief. The power seat takes over. Until I deal with that limiting belief and I get myself in alignment, we call it being single-minded, not double-minded. Until I do that, I cannot succeed beyond surface, not even meaningful success, short-term success. This is why you see people going through cycles in their life constantly. That's why you see, even in the world of addicts and things like that, you see this constant cycle, because we're not dealing with the deeply held beliefs. We're not dealing with the root of everything. I want you to be thinking about this in terms of struggles you're having in your business, in your personal life. They bleed together. I want you to be thinking right now about things you're having a hard time getting past. I want you to think about the times you tried to positive think yourself to success. Doesn't work. Okay, so we know where deeply held beliefs come from. And I'm giving you guys like 5% of this, right? Because I don't have the time to get into it deeply. There is so much here. It's awesome. So I'm going to do something with you that's a little bit difficult, but I want you to really listen up and pay attention. And I can't see all of you right now. You can take the screen off for a second, Bianca. But I'm just going to trust that you're honing in on my words, because what I want to do is I want to read you some limiting beliefs. Now, I've collected them over the years. I have a lot of them in the book because my book is full of exercises and things. And when I do these speeches, I usually, when I'm in a room physically, which is what I'm used to doing, I will have people raise their hand or stand up if they have that limiting belief. We don't have to do this here, but maybe just make a mark on your paper or do something. Be honest with yourself if you've ever heard yourself say this. And I collect these, so when we're done, if you want to email me some other limiting beliefs, it's amazing how much we have in common as humans, right? And the highest performers in the world still deal with these things. So let me read you some of these. And I just want you to in a meditative way, listen and be honest with yourself. I don't know enough. I don't have the time. They will find out I'm a fraud. I don't have the right personalities to succeed. I lack focus. What if I fail? I need to learn more. I can't have it all. I can't handle it. My expertise is common sense. This is hard work. Who would want what I offer? I can't afford to get help. I have nothing to offer. I'm not a morning person. I can't compete. I have to work too hard to succeed. I don't really need as much money as I think. People won't like me if I'm successful. Now's not the time. Who do I think I am anyway? My spouse will be envious if I'm successful. I tried before and I failed. Who am I to do this? I'm not as good as he is or she is. I don't have all the answers. I'm too disorganized. I'm not motivated enough. There's something wrong with me. I won't be able to handle it. I don't deserve success. I'm not smart enough. Why me? I'm not important. I don't know what to do next. I could lose everything. Good things just don't happen to me. I'm not good enough. I'm not interesting enough. I'm invisible. My value is in what I do. My best is not good enough. I can't change. I've wasted my best years. I am stuck. I got shortchanged. I will always be fearful. I finished last. It's my fault. I don't belong. I'll always be on the outside. If you knew the real me, you would reject me. I never have enough money. I am worthy only if I succeed. Too much time has passed. I'm too young. I'm too old. I don't deserve success. I've made too many mistakes. I can't finish anything. My friends and family won't support me. Someone else already thought of it. People will think I'm arrogant if I succeed. It's okay to play small. I wish I were someone else. It's hopeless. I don't have the strength. Okay. That was 10% of my limiting belief list. But those are examples of commonly held limiting beliefs. Anybody hear anything that resonated? You don't have to be specific. Yeah. I mean, I can't see all of you, but I know enough. Yeah, Danielle, yes. I know enough to know from talking to so many people who, you'd be surprised, who say yes. People who have, by their own will, tried to succeed in life, but they've been dragging these along with them. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. So we need to replace these thoughts. Is it enough just to think positively and not think negatively? No, because a lot of times you don't even recognize that you're thinking that way. We need to bring that stuff out of the subconscious in order to say, hey, I just had that thought. I just had that thought. I want you to think about your mind right now. We talked about it being the one place you have control over. I want you to think about it right now as a retail store. Think about it like it's a retail store. Now, if you owned a retail store on Main Street, West Orange, would you allow anybody to come in and throw your merchandise around? Would you allow anyone to come in and spray paint the walls, scream at your customers, tell you off, steal your things? No. But that's what we let happen in our mind. We have no gate. We allow anything in. We meditate on anything, unless we've developed the skills and tools not to do that. It's a daily practice. If you don't develop those, your mind becomes a playground for any thought that wants to set up shop. And guess what? Negative thought has just as good of a chance of staying as a positive one. We know, if you read Dr. Caroline Leaf, Dr. Daniel Amen, any of their contemporaries, we know that these negative limiting held beliefs actually change our brain. Chemically, they alter our brain. Chemically, they release things into our body that then ultimately then we see in our body. Immune system disease, which is dis-ease, comes from our thoughts. Everything flows from our thought life. Why are we allowing anything and everything in there? Why are we not saying, no, I'm not going to believe that? You have a big goal for yourself this year for your business, and yet you keep hearing one of these things I read to you or something else, or you've realized now that that's something that haunts you. Why are you allowing that? Where is your gate? Where is your desire to protect your thought life because everything flows from it? That's my challenge to you, right? So I want to give you a few tools. And again, I'm so at the top, sort of 5% of all of this. It's hard for me because I get so excited. I want to give you everything, but I can't in these hour teachings. But I want to give you some tools. I'm hoping you've heard some things that made you sort of look in the mirror a little bit. I'm hoping you've heard some things that challenge you already to be aware of what you're thinking. I tell you, literally, sometimes I will shake my head and I will say out loud to myself, I'm not thinking that. I actually do a mental picture of my thoughts and I say, no, not thinking that. And I will like sometimes just pull it out of my head. I mean, and I'm not strange, ask Jess, I'm really not. But if you saw me in my car sometimes, you'd see me go, no. You should see with my kids, my poor kids, like they're just up to here with mindset, right? One of them said to me the other day, Mom, if my arm fell off, you'd tell me that was a limiting belief. Like they've had it, but they listen to it all the time because I hear limiting thoughts come out of their mouth. And I say, whoa. And I'm going to give you a tool for finding where that's coming from. So you have to take such control that you're at the helm of this. You are thinking about what you're thinking about. Now, we have 80,000 thoughts a day, something like that. 80% of them are negative. So you're saying, well, I got to live my life. Like I can't just be sitting there thinking about my thoughts all the time, right? I don't have time. Okay, I get that. You're not going to be able to manage every single thought. But once you do it as a practice where you recognize that limiting belief coming up, you recognize that negative thought, you will develop a habit, just like when you, muscle memory, right, Bianca? Muscle memory, right? We know how that helps us. Once you develop that habit, you'll be able to arrest that thought and replace it and get rid of it so quick you won't even recognize that it happened. But I'm going to slow that process down for you so that you can make a habit out of it. So let's go to a tool, the first tool I'm going to give you. And Bianca, you want to put up the first mind of man? It's the one with the empty lines. Okay, so this is something from my book called The Mind of Man. And what I want you to understand, and this is based on the idea and the agreement that the only thing we have control over is our mind, our thoughts, and that everything flows from them. So we have to agree to that before we can see how this works. So the overview here, we're going to go quickly to the next slide, but you see the overview here? These are 7 steps. I'm going to fill them in for you. But everything starts with a deeply held belief and goes down to results. Remember the mindset definition, right? A set of beliefs, a way of thinking that determines one's actions and results. So now I'm going to map out for you how the mind of man works, that we're going from a deeply held belief to results. So here we are, and I put it all here for you together, and I even mapped it to spirit, soul, and body, which maps back to the mindset definition. So let's start this process, and I'm going to show you why this is a tool for you to interrupt your thoughts, why this is a tool for you to find deeply held beliefs, why this is a tool for you to change results that you don't like in your life, and how you can use this in a way that becomes second nature. It works very well. So let's go through it slowly, and then I'll give you some examples. So we're starting with a deeply held belief. Now that's in our subconscious. Remember that? That's in the spirit realm. We're not always aware of it, but it's there. It's in control 95% of the time. These are the things we're going to want to change. So it's in that subconscious level, right? So we start with that. And what happens is it bubbles up into our conscious realm, and we have a thought. That's number 2, thinking. We have a thought. That thought causes an emotion. Now, there's a difference between emotion and feeling here. I want you to understand this. That thought causes an emotion. There are 2 emotions that all feelings come from: faith or fear. You can call it love or fear. You are always constantly in one or the other. You cannot be in both. You are either in faith, which is an expectation of something positive, or you are in fear, which is an expectation of something negative. Ironically, they're both belief in something that hasn't happened yet. Isn't that funny? I mean, you could just as easily believe in something good happening as you can believe in something bad happening, but that thought creates an emotion, and you're either in faith or fear. From the faith or fear emotion, Then comes a feeling, which is a manifestation of that emotion. Now, we have a billion feeling words, right? Sad, angry, jealous, depressed, excited, hopeful. Take all of those and they're either a faith feeling or they're a fear feeling, all right? Then we go from that feeling. This happens in a split second. I'm slowing it down for you as a tool. We go from that immediately to words. The words come out of our mouth, whatever we say. From those words come our choices, and from those choices come our results. Now, why is this a tool to changing your mindset? Identifying limiting beliefs. Because I can start anywhere on this scale. I can come in anywhere and I can start to identify what's going on. Let's start at the obvious, the bottom. I don't like results in my life. I don't like what's going on. I'm not hitting my goals. The name of the book is Master Your Mindset, The Master's Way. It's on Amazon, Tatiana. And that's it behind me, a big version of it. So I don't like the results in my life. I don't like what I'm seeing. Let me go back to my choices. What choice did I make? What choice did I make? Well, I figure what that is. And then I go back, what words did I say that pushed that choice? And what feelings were behind those words? Well, I was sad. I was depressed. Okay. What emotion is that? That comes very easily. It's fear. That's not faith. What was the thought I had before I had that emotion? And what was then the deeply held belief behind it? I have used this so many times, I cannot tell you. And I'll tell you what, parents, this works amazing with kids. Amazing. A kid will come to me and say, I'm feeling sad about something. I said, okay, what are you feeling sad about? Like, well, we know that's a fear emotion, right? So what was the thought you just had? Well, I'm worried about the tryouts next week. Okay, well, what's the deeply held belief behind that thought? We find out that, that my son is feeling like he'll never make the team, like he's not good enough for whatever reason. I mean, I'm simplifying this, but this tool works every time if you're willing to do the work. Now, again, as I said to you, it happens like this. We flow through it in an instant. You got to slow down the process. You got to analyze what's going on and do the work to figure out how to identify that deeply held belief. Because once we identify it, then we can deal with it. So this is an identification exercise. Now, would anybody like to use an example in their life? Anybody willing to throw themselves?
Yeah, I actually have a perfect example.
Let's go.
So when I was like between middle school and high school, I was really, really depressed. And I was like, I'm really tired of being depressed. Like, I'm not going to want to live my life like this. Like, how do I'm tired of just being upset of my past. Like, how do I get over this? And so I recognized every time I was upset and I was like, okay, why am I upset? And I just decided, like, at that time it was right to just feel the upset and then get over it. So it's so crazy to hear you explain this because I try to tell so many people that I can relate to. And this is so perfect. It's insane. Like, I literally did this in my mind. I was like, okay, where is this coming from?
Tatiana, that's awesome. And so, and I honor you for that because some people, this is innate to them. They figured it out. Like, where is this coming from? But a lot of people don't have that understanding. And that's why we need to get this out there, right? So everyone can have that emotional intelligence to say, slow it down and figure out where it's coming from. Because until we identify a problem, we can't change it. And we have so much that's in control that we're not aware of. And I have to tell you that, I do this work all the time. And yes, this is what I do for a living. That doesn't mean I don't struggle with it. In fact, if you want to really struggle with something, a subject area, write a book about it. If you want to really struggle with something, make it part of your business because you have to overcome it in order to help people. So I can tell you, Tatiana, that's amazing. And you're already there at your age, right? You said you were in school. So I'm assuming, you're in your 20s. Okay. Yeah. So that's amazing. These tools, like I just want people to have these tools. Like, why do we have to wait till we're older and we're so beat up? Why can't we have these tools when we're young? Why can't we understand this? And I can tell you that just the other day, like literally yesterday, I had a long conversation with my husband and I had a breakthrough on a deeply held belief that I didn't even know was there. And I'm like 50 something, and I do this work all the time. So again, this works. And if you already have that ability to understand it, it is on you now. Now, Tatiana, it's choice. It comes down to your choice. You either choose to do the work or you choose not to. People come to me all the time and say, hey, my kid's in trouble. He's just really depressed. He's not making good choices, or I'm feeling this way. And I want to tell you something. God gave me a coach's heart, not a counselor's heart. So I really struggle with people that just keep coming back to the table with the same issue, not because I don't have a heart for them, but because when you tell somebody, okay, here's a tool, do this, then I'm like a coach, right? Like coach says, come on, let's get past this. Let's get to the next issue. Let's get past this. Yeah. And so for me, I'm always saying to people, listen, the information is out there, not just from me, but from other people. There's so much out there. Make a choice. Bianca, people want to be in good shape. Make a choice. You can't just wish it. If you're not going to show up to the workout, if you're not going to show up to the meditation, if you're not going to show up, you don't make the choice, it's not going to happen. Right? So this is all along the way. It's your choice. Yes, you don't have to feel this way. You don't have to think this way. It's a choice. Anybody else want to weigh in on does everyone understand the flow? Do we need any more examples the diet example works well to uncover that deeply held belief that someone always told you something? And by the way, one of the power things, and it's in my 14-step process to overcoming limiting beliefs, one of the most powerful things is when you find out where it came from. Sometimes you don't, but a lot of people will find out that some kid in middle school told them they were stupid, and they didn't realize that was a limiting belief. And when they recognize that this kid, who they don't even know who he is anymore, told him that, and that's been changing their life, they're like, what? And it strips the power of it instantly. It's amazing. Anyone else want? Yep, go
I have
ahead.
a question. What is your Enneagram number? Do you know? Are you
know what? I did that the other day. And I was frustrated by it. So I don't know, Bianca. I got to go back and do that. Thank you. I probably am an 8. Yeah. I don't know. I went to go do it. And then I was like, I'm so type A. I'm like, I have other things I got to do. So I moved on. Anyway, what's that? 8?
I just said definitely an 8.
You're funny. Well, I'll take it. I'll tell you for sure. Okay. I'll email you. You're probably right. So that flow works. And again, you guys, if you break it down with any example you have, please do. I can't spend too much time on it because we're going to run out of time. So I want to give you another tool. I'm just giving you tools. This is so skimming the surface, guys. It's 40 hours of teaching minimum. The next one, Bianca, I think is the daily practice wheel. Okay, you may have seen this before, but I use this differently. So I use this as a tool to identify your goals and where your limiting beliefs may be. So this is a blank. You'll get the blank. And I got to show you this, which I don't really think, okay, what I do here, and I'll explain it, but I use each of the 6, in this case, it's 6, but you can make 8. And I label them. So I have family, finances, growth, business, health, spiritual. Each of those pieces of the pie is labeled. And then you see where I shade it in. That's how satisfied I am with that area in my life. So the shading may show you like a 50%, an 80%, a 20%. Now, this is out about the delta, right? It's about getting, well, what's the delta? If I'm only 20% satisfied with my finances, what's the delta? How do I get to closer to 100%? Not perfection, but then I develop goals and I say, well, this is where it's not working for me. This is where things are not working or I'm unhappy. Then I use those to go start through the mind of man and start to identify limiting beliefs that are keeping me from reaching those goals, from pushing up my satisfaction levels in that area of my life. So you may not need to do this because you may be right now struggling with something very intense. You may know right now what you need to deal with. Some of you are going through things right now that are difficult, and you don't need to go through a process of saying, well, let me go find, but some of you are, life goes through seasons. Some of you are at a point where you're like, well, I have some dissatisfaction. I have some things. Let me see if I can't push myself to be a higher performer in this area or that area. So we're not always in crisis, but sometimes we are. But the tools work whether it's crisis or just a choice to go up level a certain area of your life. Okay, so that's a practice wheel. Let me just go on to one other tool for you, and then we're going to take questions, and I'm going to need to let you guys go. Go down to the thought ladder. Is that there? Yeah. Okay. Another great tool for you. Here's the thing. There are some people, very few in this world, but there are some. I just interviewed one the other day. She's a very well-known doctor, nationally, actually internationally known. And she says to me, well, I don't really deal with fear. I just don't deal with it. When something negative happens, I just move on. And she was very, like it's easy for her. And I believe her, but not everyone is built that way. Most of us have a process where we need to replace negative thoughts with something positive. It's a process. It's work to do that. Not everyone is just like, oh, I'm just not going to think that. I'm just going to move on. You know, that's the very small percentage of people in the world. The rest of us have to do the work. This is another tool for you. Remember, I talked about giving you truth and tools. So this is another tool for you, a thought ladder. Some of you may have seen a form of this before. At the bottom of the ladder is that negative belief, that limiting belief, that negative thought. You write it in there. Make your ladder however you want. In fact, I'm so into the thought ladder, I give these out, these little ladders. I keep them on my desk to remind me when I'm dealing with something like, okay, we got to use the thought ladder. Here's the deal about the thought ladder. It's not so easy to go from the bottom rung to the top. It's not so easy just to say, well, I'm no longer going to think I'm stupid. I'm going to think that I'm brilliant, right? Because my whole life, people told me I was stupid. And I uncovered that that's why I always sort of fail and I don't reach for big goals in my life, because I don't think I can do it. So I've uncovered that, but now how do I replace it? So again, I have a 14-step process of replacing limiting beliefs, but this is a tool that will get you there because I don't have time to get into that. So why isn't it easy to go to the top? Well, we just don't have the faculties to do that. You know why? You have trained your brain. They're actually, if I do a brain scan right now, they can see grooves in your brain from having the same thought. It's like ants. I think Daniel and Dr. Amen calls them ants, moving along that ridge, and the ridge gets deeper and deeper and deeper. You keep believing that negative belief, it gets deeper and deeper. This is proven science. So that's why a positive belief just doesn't eradicate that groove in your brain. You need to change that with a positive thought, but it's a process of getting there. So what I have people do is, let's move up the scale. What can you believe today? What neutral thought or less negative thought are you willing to believe about that issue? You know, are you willing to say, well, I'm not, it's like literally like, I'm not that bad, or I'm not that stupid, or I'm good at these things. Like, what neutral thought will you replace with the negative? So next time you think the negative, grab the neutral and train your brain to think the neutral. The brain is amazing neuroplasticity. It's just amazing what the brain can do. Don't miss that in your life. Don't get to the end of your life and you never use the power of your brain. So the brain can pull that neutral thought in. And if you do the work, just like you're committed to physical work, committed to brain work, right? Spirit, soul, and body, in balance, guys, in balance. Do the work. Replace that negative thought with a neutral thought. Train your brain, do that long enough. And then all of a sudden your instinct and your response is now neutral or less negative. Now, you may need to go a little bit higher on the neutral scale, or you may be ready then to go to the positive thought. I don't know how many rungs it's going to take you. It's training your brain so that at some point you will get to that highest rung where you can completely eliminate that limiting belief. It works. It absolutely works, but you have to work it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So this is another tool from you of so many tools, but I wanted to give you a few things so you can walk away today understanding the definition of mindset, understanding that everything flows from your thought life, understanding if you don't control your mind, it will control you, and understanding how we can reprogram and start to uncover things and then replace them, and that it's a process and it's work. So guys, questions, it's 2 minutes to 1. You have any questions, anything you want to talk about? Number 8 going crazy here, right, Bianca? I'm just like plowing through it all.
I want to know, how can we get more of you? I know you've said many times this is just touching the surface. Give us more. Tell us where we can meet you.
Okay, so there's a lot. I mean, the book is there. I also have Master Your Mindset Academy.com has a teaching course that I did 8 videos that go along with the book and all the exercises. I have Master Your Mindset Academy free Facebook private group you can join. Where I, throughout the week, we do things together. Sometimes I do live events in there, but a lot of motivation and inspiration. If you go to ElizabethNader.com, that'll link to my weekly podcast. I also have other resources there. There's a summit I'm launching. It's free coming up. It's actually open now, flattenyourfear.com. 22 experts helping, you'll recognize their names, helping you get past fears. And then the last thing I can think of right now, if you hook up with me by email or whatever, you'll hear about it. I have a all virtual mindset reset conference coming up on October 3rd. That's all about resetting your mind. We're going to use all these tools and just dig in. And it's going to be 100% virtual. So really just get on, somehow interact with me in a way that you can get on my email list, and there's more there. But if you need to just, you interact the way you want to. The book is life-changing. And when I say that to you, it's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of what I was supposed to write. When you write a book and you put it out there, it's like having a baby. I can't go back and give birth again. It's its own thing. I keep it by my bedside. And when I have a tough day, I read my own book. You understand? So I encourage you to dig into it.
Elizabeth, I really appreciate this so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Anytime, guys. Any questions, you can email me at e@elizabethnader.com. And I think, Bianca, you'll send out just some of those worksheets just to remind you guys about what we talked about. If some of you have something right now that's weighing heavily on you and you don't want to share it and you want to reach out to me, just reach out to me. I don't ever want to leave somebody kind of like dealing with something difficult. We all do, guys. We all do. And life is about getting past all of that stuff so you can be who you were meant to be, and you can be brilliant. We all are brilliant, but you've got to do the work and you've got to get past it. And those of you who are meant to change this world, you know what? It's been difficult probably for you, because we get resistance and challenge exactly in the area that we were meant to serve. So keep going.
What's your email address, Elizabeth? I want to throw it in the comments.
e@elizabethnader.com. Just e@elizabethnader.
Phenomenal.
All right, guys. Well,
Elizabeth, thank you very much. You're awesome.
Thank you guys for the opportunity, and hopefully I'll see some of you online.